What if you could build a business that gives you the life of freedom you deserve? What if you could find the secrets to marketing, leadership, customer service, and other aspects of business that help you exceed your goals? What if you could walk away from your business for 30 days and it never misses a beat? That's what this podcast is for, to help business leaders like you find freedom from the day-to-day grind and start spending your time doing the things you love. I'm Levi McClendon, and my co-host is Josh Taylor, and this is the Cheers to Freedom podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Cheers to Freedom podcast. I am your host, Josh Taylor. I'm with my co-host, Levi McClendon.
What's up?
How are you?
It's just weird to be in person, so I'm always like, Josh, where am I looking? The camera? I'm not really sure. I'm going with the camera, but I'll probably also look at you.
We can do that because then we're going to be looking at the iPad here as well. This is a special day. Tell us why it's a special day.
It is OptSpot's 11th anniversary.
That's
today, February 1st.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
11 years. And actually, one of the videos that we're going to look at today, we'll explain more of that in just a second. But it's kind of ironic that we're going to be watching this video on our 11th anniversary for OptSpot. So here's what I want to do today. We had the Freedom Summit back in November, and it was in Destin, Florida. We had a great time. We had just OptSpot customers there, and this is always a really intimate time where we just kind of, peel back the curtain. We share all the strategies that we have, everything that we've learned, and then we allow our customers to kind of network with one another, because a lot of them are using their OptSpot tools in different ways, and they've seen a lot of different success and things with them. And so the Freedom Summit is a really valuable few days for our customers to get together, but also for us to really dive deep with them as well. And so what I want to do is I've got 4 videos that we've queued up to watch, and each of these videos are less than a minute long, but we're going to kind of react to them and talk about some thoughts around this, and just kind of go through it as we prep for the Freedom Summit that's coming up in this November, which we'll give you more information at the end of this episode on that, because you should be there. So we're going to dive right into this first video, and this is a video Jeremy and I did a session. This was session 2, I believe, on the first day of the sessions. And he kind of goes back and talks about the beginnings of his time with OptSpot and kind of some of his thoughts, because he didn't think text message marketing was actually going to work. And so I want to kind of show this story that he tells, and let's talk about this, because I think it's got some really interesting insights to it.
Watch him log in, and he says, let's send a text blast out, and let's go out and see if we can drive some business for this lady. Her name's Lynette. She's a good friend of mine now. Didn't think another of it. I got the text on my phone. Ken and I talked about this at the beginning. I got the text on my phone, and I literally said, I would not go get, this is what I said. I didn't say this to Levi. I should have probably said this to Levi. But in my mind, I'm saying, I would not go take advantage of this offer, right? I wouldn't go do it. I'm like, I'm not that guy. Didn't think another thing of it. At 10 o'clock that night, this is what I'll never forget, and this is why I'm sitting here with you guys today. We had a text from Lynette. It said, OMG in all caps, 10 exclamation marks. My back hurts. I just netted $800 more than I've ever made on a New Year's Day. Thank you so much, exclamation mark. That was the exact message. I remember it. It's burned in my mind. And I said to Levi, I said, we're helping people. He said, yeah, we're helping people. That was the beginning of OptSpot, right? Like, that was a journey of us doing all this stuff. The thing that I want you to take in mind about that story is not about what happened, is if she didn't have the leads to send that text out, there is no story. That story doesn't exist without the contacts that she had. And part of what we're trying to get you guys to see is, if you take the time to get the leads will take you to the results that you want. Leads equal the results that you want.
So there's a couple of things there, but first off, do you remember that story that he's talking about? Give us a little bit more context with that.
100%. Jeremy is actually my brother-in-law, for those of you who don't know. So he was over, during New Year's. It's also Jenny, my wife's birthday. So of course the family's there. And we had been, OptSpot had been around for about a year, but I'd been doing text message marketing for several years prior to that, probably about 4.5, 5 years. And so Jeremy, I'd always talk to Jeremy about, how texting, what we did, and he was semi-interested. Okay, that's cool and whatever. But Jeremy is a pastor by trade. He's been doing it for quite a while, and his heart is to help people, right? And so when we sat there and I showed him, I wanted to show him the results. Like I wanted, I guess, for my own self-worth that, hey, what we do really works and we're actually helping, entrepreneurs, especially people like Lynette, who's, she was single, she's an elderly lady who was trying to survive, right? Trying to just keep her sandwich shop alive and going. And so to actually be helping her, it was kind of, I don't know when I say justified, but I was really more about, Jeremy, check this out. Like what we do really works and what I do is really cool. Yeah. And so for him to see that, and he was like, oh my gosh, like you're helping people. And I said, yeah, dude, that's what we do. And that immediately, and right about that time, I mean, Jeremy came on, we just celebrated his 10-year anniversary on the 28th, just a few days ago. And so it was, think about it, January 1st, we literally got this message. And by January 28th, he was on board with OptSpot, and it's been 10 years for him.
So one of the other takeaways that I see with that video is you are not your customer. So Jeremy didn't think that text message marketing was going to work. And how many customers that we talk to that feel like, well, I just don't know if this will work for my company. And I don't know if my customers will want to get, text messages and those kind of things. And one of the things that I keep reminding them is you are not your customer. And so don't put yourself, don't assume your customers are not going to do something simply because you wouldn't do it.
Josh, if I listen to every one of my clients over the last 11 years, and actually through SMS marketing over say 15 years, if I listen to them tell me, why would our customer, I would never do that. I wouldn't opt into that. I would opt out of that. That is spam. That is this is this. We wouldn't be sitting here today if they were true, if they were right. It's amazing how many people actually will opt into a database for something in exchange. It's always about the value. So what do they get in exchange? But I love that, Josh. You're not the customer. You're not. You have to be okay and know that there's thousands of other people out there that absolutely will opt in so that you can build that database because they do want to hear from you. Just because you don't doesn't mean they don't want to.
They will exchange their phone number for a free car wash, and anything from $20 to $35. So car washes have the perfect lead generator, and it's collecting those leads, which is the other thing that Jeremy talked about in there. She made $800 more than she's ever made on a New Year's Day, and she was so excited. And Jeremy said it was because she collected the leads and then she reached out to those leads, which is what we do. And Jeremy could walk away as a pastor who was very passionate about helping people realize we just helped this woman out.
Well, I use this saying at my house or anywhere else, but it's kind of like having, it's like needing a gun and not having one. I would rather have a gun and not need it than to need one and not have it, right? That's just me. I live in the South. That's where we're at, and I like guns.
Roll Tide.
No, I haven't quite gone that far yet. But the point of that is, man, it's so much better. Like Lynette, she had the list. It's better to have the list. It's better to have those leads and not need them. But there are times when things come up, pandemics, that you cannot predict. How awesome is it that you have a list, though, that if you need it, you can connect with people in seconds. And that's what I think this program has done for a lot of our customers.
Absolutely. Well, let's go into the next video here. This one is one of my favorite ones. And to give a little bit of context on this one, you had already said during this session that you hired Stacy because you just didn't know what you were doing on Facebook. And you felt like anytime that you would try something, it was just a waste of money because you just didn't really know how to set up these ads. And so Stacy is kind of talking about how a lot of us go into that because Facebook makes us think that we can. So let's watch this quick video and react to it.
My favorite part is that they tell you it's easy. Facebook and Instagram and Google will lie to you. Here's a smart campaign. Just put your website in here and we'll do the rest.
Because they know if they can get people like Levi to go in and do it, they'll spend a whole bunch of money and keep spending it thinking they've got to keep feeding this monster.
Well, and what's interesting is they're telling him that you think you're doing really well, and it really wasn't until even working with Stacy. Again, she was a referral, and I just had this call with her, and I hired her, and we paid for you for a customer because I'm like, I just got to, like, what's going on here? Like, what's really happening? And so for like 3 or 4 months before the summit last year, we're just like, Stacy, go on. Like, I need to trust you. I don't trust anything else. Tell us what's going on here and really peel the onion back and see what's really happening here. And can this work for our customers? I don't want to tell you guys to go do something if it's not going to work.
You know, like if we're going to promote, hey, go do digital, blah, 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 but if it's not going to work and you're going to waste your money, I'm not going to tell you to do it.
So this was one we've talked about, finding the right person to do the right things, because sometimes you're just out of your league. You're not, we can't be great at everything. And so we found Stacy, and one of the big takeaways
the right
here,
who, we'll get into that in a second.
Look how comfortable she is. It's like we walked into her living room
up.
or
She's like, hey, what's going on here?
But you know, this was really fascinating, because Stacy talks about how we get told that, you know, all of these things are just easy to do. You just, all you have to do is sign in and do it yourself. And what we found out is how quickly you can throw a whole bunch of money down the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like Dan Kennedy says, you can't take likes to the bank, right? Likes and follows and impressions. And that was a big concern of mine, Josh, going into this. And prior to Stacy, again, I did not know digital marketing very well. I know SMS marketing really well. I've been doing it a very long time, so I'm very comfortable telling somebody the campaigns to run, the text to send, the messages to send, things like that. So this was really important to obviously find Stacy, really, like I said, peel the layers of the onion back and really dig in and say, is this going to work for our customers? And so, and now even more, Josh, the more that we learn how important it is to have somebody like Stacy know what they're doing, because what she's found out, and I think Stacy's even learned a lot of our customers have hired internal, you know, marketing directors, marketing managers, social media managers that have been running these ads. And to be honest, once Stacy takes over, it's a night and day difference, just because people interview well and maybe say, hey, I'm a digital marketer. And they just really listen to Facebook and say, hey, all they're doing is spending your money on what Facebook's telling them to do and not actually testing themselves and putting things out there, where Stacy's been able to do that. And now to see the comparison is pretty unbelievable.
It's really fascinating. And we shared the story here during the session, but we had a customer sign up to do digital marketing with us. They were getting really crazy, ridiculous results from it. In fact, so much so, this guy used to own a major digital marketing company, and he was singing Stacy's praises and said, I've never seen results like this before. We weren't getting this with our company. And, you know, now he's working with another wash. And it's funny because their internal digital marketing team said, you know what, we have a guy on our team that thinks he could do this, so we're going to take it over. And one of the first things they did was afterwards is call Stacy and say, hey, how are you setting these things up? And then we can look at even just their results, and you just see like the line just drops when they take it over. And that's why it's so important to have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And does it over and over and over again. Like this is pretty much what Stacy and her team do every single day now.
Well, one thing, Josh, at the summit, those of you who are watching this that weren't there, one thing that we did is we gave the book away that's called Who Not How. And that book is written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. It's really a Dan Sullivan. He's been a strategic coach for 40 years, one of the best in the space. And he's not an author, right? So he found the right who, which was the Dr. Benjamin Hardy, to take this book. And there's a trilogy, 10X is easier than 2X, Who Not How. Write these down if you're listening to this. And then The Gap and the Gain. 3 wonderfully written books that have made a big impact on my life and on our company. But we gave that book away, and I just wanted to bring that up because Stacy is that who to us. The whole premise, the whole concept of this, of course, is to find the right who, the right partner, the right employee, the right, friend, whatever that looks like, instead of you always learning. And that was hard for me, Josh, because I like to learn, I like to dig in to know the how. But there are times in your business, in your life, in your situation, that it is more important to find the right who. And so I just wanted to, I don't know if this was part of you're going to get to this in the future, but I'm bringing this, I may have messed this up for Josh, I don't know, because we really didn't rehearse this, but I just wanted the people out there to know who weren't at the Freedom Summit. You need to check that out. It's called Who Not How, and it makes a really big difference in your business, your life. So check that out.
Well, and our intention when we brought Stacy on to help us with a few of our customers just to learn, our intention really was to learn from her so that we could take it and do it ourselves. Yes. And she was, we realized how complicated this really was. And she was doing so great at it. We were just like, you just need to come do it for us. And
fortunately, she's willing to. And Stacy's this is funny. Her 1-year anniversary with OptSpot is actually today as well. So this is very
a lot of irony here.
Yes, a lot. So it's pretty cool. So hey, Stacy, if you're watching this, which you should be, happy anniversary, and we love having you on board. Keep up the good work.
All right, so this was let's see, for you, and this was the last session that we did. So one of the cool things about that we did with the Freedom Summit this year, and planning to do again this year, is to not just make it all about the business, but make it very personal as well. And so we set goals for our businesses, but we also set goals personally. And actually, I have a stack of envelopes stuffed with everybody's goals because we're going to mail them to them later, sitting in my office. And so this is you kind of leading us into that. And it's not in this clip, but one of the crazy things that you said in this is you're having people write all these things down, and then you tell them to scratch it out and double it. So let's watch this clip, and then let's talk about this.
I find something that's good, I'm going to share it. So for me, and a lot of guys in here, I'm sure you have set goals. And there's probably people here who have not set goals. But I will tell you, writing it down, taking some time to think about it, it is not always easy. But it's extremely effective. And even for myself, man, my brain is going 24/7. It's all over the place all the time. And it's really hard for me to just sit down and do an exercise like this and really start to think about what is important in my life, personally and professionally. Really take the time to sit down and write it down, and it has made such an impact on my life over the years. I've done it for many, many years now. And
so this idea of goal setting, and we really focused a lot on this at the Freedom Summit because we want people to know where they want to go so that we can help them get there. So one, a big question that I have is, why did you really want to focus on goal setting this year at the Freedom Summit?
Yeah, I think, Josh, things changed a little bit. I think the first year of Freedom Summit for me was, obviously it was brand new. It was a concept to bring our customers down and really go over marketing, right? And it was great. And we talked all marketing. We really didn't set goals. We didn't get personal. We just did what everyone expected. And I think it went well. But I think as the year went on for me personally, Freedom, I wanted something more, I guess more than just more, I guess more specific, not so broad. To me, just Cheers to Freedom is so broad. So we really dialed in freedom to freedom of time, and this is in the book as well, but we took this concept and we really wanted to go be more specific on freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationships, and freedom of purpose. And so instead of just making this broad and saying, hey, here's the marketing, how do we get people to engage and actually write down their freedom goals? Be more specific, not just professionally, not just this original concept of, hey, when you hit 3,000 members, you'll find your freedom. But to actually get granular and say, what are your time goals? What does that look like? When you have time, you have the time. And for me, Josh, specifically, I shared a story about my son who, I would go to his, oh, we are? Yeah. Okay, see, I'm going to spoil it. But for me personally, things that I go through, like I was having this personal conviction of, what am I spending my time on? Where are my relationships? Who are the important people in my life? Am I actually fulfilling those things? And so I had written those down a year prior. And so as I was going through those, I was like, gosh, I want to share that with other people, because my whole goal, purpose, identity in life is to help other people. And it's not just in business, but it's in their personal life. And life is difficult. So when you can go through it with other people, and for me, I've always looked at other mentors, and I looked at successful people, not just professionally, but also personally. What are they doing in their life to bring value to their family, to their wife, to their friends? And so for me, I brought more of that into the summit this year, because I really wanted people to go home with more than just marketing. We say more than marketing, right? How is what we're doing giving them a tool to actually be able to take some of that home to their personal life? And if they can improve, you got to improve yourself. You have to be healthy yourself. You have to be healthy in your home, physically, emotionally, spiritually, healthy with your partner, healthy with your kids. If you're healthy yourself, Josh, you're able to then bring that to the business and help those people around you.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When we decided to move more in that direction for the Freedom Summit, I didn't know how it was going to land with the customers that were there, because I'm a very practical person. Of let's show them what to do. Let's give them the strategies so that they can go back, apply those, and come back the next year and we celebrate their success. And somehow we were able to make this concept very practical for them. And you obviously you speak from a lot of experience with that. But one of the biggest things that I realized going into this summit is how much of a different person you were from a year before the summit before, because we talked about this idea of freedom at the summit before. But we were not completely, you were still in the weeds of OptSpot. You were still doing a lot of things that as the CEO and the owner of the company, you probably shouldn't be doing, but that's just who you were. You're a doer. You like to get in and get your hands dirty and do things. But you decided that over that next year, you were actually going to empower the team to do it. You're going to bring on the right who's and be able to be the owner of the company, be the CEO of the company, lead the people that were hired to do the work. And you now came back to this last Freedom Summit speaking from that experience. And you could say, look, I've been to the mountaintop and this is how you get there. And so that was profound for me. I think the idea of setting these goals, and we actually had people write down their goals. We had this whole worksheet and everything. And people, I don't know, we spent 15, 20 minutes or something in writing those goals down. And I think that's so important to know what those goals are and then have those milestones on what you're going to do to get to those goals. And that's been extremely helpful for me, even just over the last several months since the Freedom Summit, as I'm trying to get healthier. And as Rachel and I have our own personal goals, we're planning a big, huge trip that's been on Rachel's bucket list for her, awesome. Most of her life, and never really thought she was actually going to get to do it. And we're planning a trip to go do that this summer. So those are goals that we have, and we're creating these milestones on how to get there.
Josh, to me, you even saying that means more to me than anything. Since the summit, I've had half a dozen at least conversations with people who've literally said, Levi, I'm very inspired. We're going to travel more. We're going to have freedom of time. Like, I'm going to spend this time. My wife has these things on her bucket list, and we're going to do it this year. I had another guy literally buy a tonal, okay? A guy that attended the summit bought a tonal because we start talking fitness and what we're doing and whatever, and he's like, man, what do you do? I'm like, dude, to get a tonal, blah, blah, blah. He literally bought a tonal. He's been texting me. He started working on his tonal.
We're sending this out as an ad.
Yeah, we get nothing from tonal. Dang it, we should though. I had another guy call me, and we talked he's like, I got 15 minutes. We talked for an hour. It wasn't even about work. It was about how to balance your life with work, because we are so driven, us entrepreneurs are so driven about what we do that it's not work. But it can become an idol. It can become something that gets in the way of our friends and family and our kids. And that has happened to me. And so when you take yourself out or get a perspective from somebody else, sometimes that's what you need to go, man, that's me. So it was awesome just having these conversations with these entrepreneurs and husbands and dads. And to me, that means the world to me when we actually put this out there. We were pretty vulnerable, put it out there, and it was received really, really well. And that's even going into 2024. I want to bring more of that to the table, because the more people that we can get there, the more clients that we bring on board, the more employees even that we get, the bigger difference in people's lives that we get to make a positive difference in their lives. And that's really, for me, that freedom of time, money, relationships, and purpose. Like, that's it for me, and I'm hoping that we're able to bring that to those people who come to the summit this year.
Well, that's a good segue into the last video that we have, and this one is, obviously very vulnerable. We get pretty personal at this, and one of the things that we're doing with this Freedom Summit is letting people see a side of us that they don't normally see, and so let me find this video. My iPad updated, and so all my videos are cool.
Well, and even while he's finding that, Josh, even our last podcast episode was on Live Free, right? Living by faith, intentionally and authentically. So if you haven't listened to that, I think it's episode 51, watch or listen to that. That's us getting more personal. And yes, we are still going to talk about marketing and some of the things that we're going to be able to help our customers with. But ultimately, I think being able to share with people experiences, successes, failures, they're all relatable. And my goal is to hopefully help people through the tough times, but even in the good times, how are we managing the good times? Because that can also snowball, and all of a sudden you're so ingrained in your business and your life that you are not focused on the things that really should be important to you. What are your true priorities, and are you spending time in the right place?
Yeah. Well, let's watch this last video here.
Happened to me about a year ago. So I, as you know, have a lot of kids, and I was talking about cash, and I was out. I try to make it a point to show up at everything, right? We try to show up to every ball game, every practice, everything. Like my wife and I are super involved. I know there's a lot of kids, a lot going on. But I was at my son's baseball practice once, and I had my iPad because my computer, because I did that every time. Like I felt like I was justifying by being there. I was there, but I was working, and my kids saw that. So I was at practice, came home, was talking to my wife. I was like, yeah, I was at practice, blah, blah, blah. And Cash goes, Dad, but you weren't there. And I'm like, no, I was there. He said, but you were on your computer the whole time. Gosh, I'm gonna cry. And that hurts because you're like, no, I am there. But then it's a reality check. You're like, you know what? No, I'm really not there. I'm there because I'm on my dang computer, but I'm not there for him. And I want him to see that I'm watching him, that I'm there for him on everything that they're doing, because that is more important than me learning how to figure out how to build a website or how to design a website or how to figure out ChatGPT or whatever the case is. You've got the people. I had to hire and put the right people in place. And that's been the journey that our team has been on. And man, it's been liberating. I have not taken my computer to practice in months. I'm the assistant coach on the soccer team now, which is awesome. I'm out to every practice that I can of the kids, and I'm there, and I'm actually physically, mentally there for my kids, which is huge. So I've been on that journey, and I encourage you guys to also go down that same path and figure out why. All right, a little tear in my eye. Thanks, Josh. I get emotional every time I watch that.
Yeah, I do too, because I actually experienced this for me. That was like 2 weeks ago, and I'm trying not to get emotional as well, because as parents, things hit us differently. And my son is playing soccer right now, and he loves when I come out there to watch his games. He's got one this afternoon, and he wanted to make sure before he left that I was going to be there this afternoon. But his last game, I got a phone call from a customer and jumped on it, and I took it, and I didn't think he could see me.
They see
everything. And we got in the car, we were driving home, and he said, Dad, why were you on the phone the whole time? And oh man, it just crushed me, because I didn't think he could see it. And I wanted to make sure, at the beginning of the game, he could see me. I waved to him, so he was there. And then I thought, well, he's engaged in the game. He's not going to see me take this call. And, I love to watch him play, but it means more to him for me to watch him play. And, our family sees those things, even when we don't realize that they see it. And it says a lot. So one of the things that I used to say when I was a pastor to our staff is, if you are spending more time, devoted to the church and not with your family, then what's going to happen is your spouse and your children, they're going to eventually resent the church. And the same applies to our work. If we're spending more time in the work that we're doing, and our families are watching that, they're going to eventually come and resent the business or the work that we do. And I don't want my family to feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, Josh, that this is cliche, right? But literally more is caught than taught. I would know that probably better than most, considering I've had 10 kids watching me as I do things, because they catch everything. You try to teach them things, but they're watching all the time. So whether we think they're watching or not, what are we doing versus what are we saying? I promise you that what we do, they're going to follow, they're going to do it, they're going to see it. And I know personally, the legacy that I leave my kids is going to be, it's going to impact them by what I've done to spend time with my kids, what I've done to spend time with my wife. They're going to see that. What I say doesn't matter. Right. It's all what I do. And that's what we tried to get that point across, even at the summit this year, is how do we have that freedom of time, money, relationships, purpose, right? Those 4 things. What are we doing in our life so that it's not just all about the business? I love business. I love what I do. I love everything about OptSpot. But if I put that first, and that's the only thing I'm doing all the time, I'm now neglecting the other things in my life where I'm not as healthy as I should be.
Yeah. And that legacy is important. That word legacy means more than just, we do work hard and we promote working hard, but the legacy is more about the people in your life and what are they seeing, what are they learning from you, what are they taking away, who are they going to become, who is my son going to become because he watches me.
And Josh, I didn't think about this till just now, but gosh, it's not just our kids. I always think about my kids, right? Because family's so important. But you guys that have employees out there, you may not even have kids, but your employees, those people's lives that you're affecting every day, the way that they see you handle yourself, there's a legacy there. Absolutely. Just as important as is in your own home.
Well, and that was one of the things that we talked about at the summit is, we're not just in the car washing business and we're not just in the customer service business. We're in both of those things, but you're also in the people development business. Yeah, if you have people working for you, it's most likely young people that are working for you. They're just starting out in the real world and they're trying to figure out and navigate what the real world looks like. You have the opportunity to show them and help them become the type of person that they need to be. To not only just survive in this world, but to thrive and be successful at home and successful at work. So that is a responsibility that we have as we lead people. And Levi, this is kind of a segue into the end of this is this year's Freedom Summit. That's more of what this is going to be about. It's going to be about marketing. It's going to be about strategies. It's going to be about those practical things, but it's also going to be about how can we take our personal lives and level up so that the people that work with us, our families, all of those things can benefit and value from who we are and where we're going in our lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Josh, the marketing, right? This is a tool. All these tools lead to an end. You have to have an end goal in mind, in sight, written down. And until you have those priorities, it's always the why. Why do you do what you do? Like start with why. And I agree with that. Why do you do what you do? The marketing piece, Josh, we've used that. Clearly, it's a tool. Just like you said, it's more than washing cars. It's more than marketing. But that absolutely is something that our job is to help you fulfill your marketing needs, right, and tools so that you can actually find your freedom of that time and money and relationships and so on. And so part of this freedom, as I've told, we talked about as it continues to evolve, this Freedom Summit is really not just freedom in your marketing, but freedom of your life. And what does that look like to you personally? What does it look like to those around you, your employees, your family? And so we want to make sure that we continue to bring that to this space.
Well, we want this to be unlike any other event in the industry. There's a lot of shows and a lot of events that happen in the industry where there's vendors and there's a lot of people trying to sell you the next thing. And this isn't about selling you anything. We don't allow vendors to come. We don't have any sponsors. This is all OptSpot customers. And it's all about, one, us being able to dive deeper with you and to connect more with the folks that are there. But for the folks, the OptSpot customers that are there, to connect deeper with one another.
Yeah, I mean, this year, Josh, the feedback for 2023, the way that we set up just the tables and the interaction, the way they interacted on the golf course, the time that they had, discussing maybe there's, issues or problems that one wash may be having. They're able to sit there and engage with 3 or 4 other people at a table to solve that problem. The feedback this year was really, really good as far as, hey, we had that time to really interact, ask questions, and bring back things to our car washes that were actually moving the needle, which I thought was really good.
Well, and it was outside of marketing. Those are the things that we talk about, but they're talking about systems and operations and all these things. And I guarantee you that if you have a problem that you're running into or you're about to have to make a decision with your wash, most likely there's going to be somebody there that's done that, that's been there, and they're going to be able to tell you what to do or what not to do.
Well, and Josh, they'll ask us at times too, like, hey, I'm going to raise prices. Should we grandfather them in on membership? Should we, what are some of the things that we should do? Like I said, operational. We don't run car washes, so we don't know the answers to that. At this event, questions like that get answered, which is awesome because, again, you're able to ask. You have access to a lot of different car wash owners in this space. Mm-hmm. And so having that time to engage, and we're actually going to, I think this year, Josh, we're going to 2 full days so that we'll have more time for those breakout sessions and interactions between the owners themselves.
So we want you to be there. This is going to be different. than the last 2 years that we did, because we're taking it to Cancun. So we're not going to go to Destin, Florida this year. We're going to go to Cancun, Mexico. We've got an all-inclusive resort that I'm really, really excited about, because I love all-inclusive resorts. Because once you get there, you don't have to worry about anything. All your food's covered. All your drinks are covered. So when you register at OptSpot.com, you can register and get an all-inclusive room for 2 people. That means that you can bring a spouse or a business partner, somebody. You get 1 room, and you can choose to have 1 king bed or 2 beds if you want in there, and all of the food for you and your guest is included. All of the drinks for you and your guest are included, and it comes with 1 ticket to all of the sessions for the summit. But you can add a second session. So if your spouse wants to go to the sessions, or you bring a business partner and they want to go, hopefully your business partner would want to go to the sessions. You can add that on there. We actually have several spouses that are going to go to the sessions this year.
So far of the people, Josh, that registered, most of them are bringing their spouse, which is awesome. And you know, my spouse will be there, Jenny will be there, Rachel will be there, Jamie. A lot of our spouses will be there, and I think they really enjoy that too. And getting to know and going further and deeper with our clients has made a big difference.
Yeah.
You and Rachel went out and saw Mike and Laurel this year, and did an on-site and went out to dinner and hung out because of this. This is, you know, it's a relationship business, right? Everything we do is about people and relationships. So we want to encourage you to bring your significant other or spouse down and get to know the team a little bit and see what we're about and what we do. And we will have 1 event, I believe, that will be inclusive of everybody. So we'll be announcing that as well.
Yeah, we'll have at least 1 dinner that we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to be playing golf on Tuesday. So everybody comes in on Monday. We're going to have the golf tournament on Tuesday morning. That's extra, but I highly encourage you, even if you're terrible at golf, to be a part of that, because
we do a scramble. It's all good.
It's fun, and friendships are formed there. It's a really great networking opportunity. It really is a lot of fun. But if you're not going to play golf, you can go to the spa. You can have Tuesday to do excursions or go. I mean,
if
because
we're playing golf, I got to be honest, I'd be at the spa. It looks amazing. If you go online and look at where we're going in Cancun,
or you'd be in the bowling alley,
they do have a bowling alley. This place looks really cool. There's a lot to do there. So I think
you're not going to get bored.
Place. Yeah.
And then Wednesday all day we're going to be doing our sessions until about 4 or 4:30. Then we're, obviously going to have dinners together and doing just lunch together, breakfast. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff together. You can do stuff with just you and your spouse, but it's going to be an amazing time for you to not just get away from your business, but to actually focus and work on your business as well. So don't feel guilty. A lot of people are like, I can't take that much time away from my business. If you can't take that much time away from your business, that's why you need to be there. Because we're going to show you how you can do that. Do it guilt-free and actually be able to do it where it benefits and values your business.
Hey, I mean, what a great tax write-off to go to Cancun and take your spouse, have an amazing time. And honestly, I've told this to so many people, just show up. You don't even know. Don't have expectations. Show up. You're going to take at least one nugget that honestly will be life-changing. Mm-hmm. Every time I go to an event, no matter where I'm at, what state, what event it is, there's usually at least one thing that I'm like, maybe I already knew it. Maybe I've already heard it. But for some reason, when I showed up this time, it made that impact on my life. It hit differently and it changed my life. Yeah. So that's what we expect every time we do these. And that's what you should expect as well.
So if you want to register, text Summit24 to 411365. And you'll get texted back a link to register. If you are listening to this before February 9th, if you sign up before February 9th, you can save $500, so you can put that towards the golf tournament and join us for golf. And that would actually cover 2 people to play golf for you. Yeah. And so we would love for you to be there. Text Summit24 to 411365. Sign up before February 9th to save $500 on that, because the prices are going to go up. Tickets, registrations are going quickly because we only blocked 70 rooms. Some of that is going to be taken up by the OptSpot team because we're bringing our entire team down again this year. And so there's not a ton of rooms. We try to keep this small and intimate. We don't want to have 400 or 500 people there. We want to keep it small right now and really use those opportunities to network. So don't wait to sign up. Also, if you want to get updates on what's happening with the podcast and other big events, with OptSpot, text cheers to 411365, and also make sure that you hit that subscribe button. If you loved what you heard, then comment below. If you didn't like what you heard, keep it to yourself.
And share it if you feel like there's value there. We appreciate it in comments. And also I want to throw out a little shout out to this guy here. He has dropped, you can tell probably just from looking at him, some LBs. He's going to continue to do that. He has a goal for Freedom Summit 2024, so we're going to keep this guy accountable. He's rocking it, so give him some encouragement, and he will be a different person on the stage for some Freedom Summit 2024.
I might get in the pool with my shirt off this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so come celebrate with me or make fun of me if I didn't hit the goal. We'll see how it goes.
He's gonna hit it,
but thanks for listening. Great
Thanks, guys.
episode. And Levi, until next time.
Until next time, man.
Cheers.